Hello, I'm going to cut to a compilation video that I produced some time ago that shows me germinating parsnip seeds, planting the germinated seed, growing the parsnips on and then harvesting the parsnips. And in this compilation video I think there are 4 or 5 parsnips that I excavate on different occasions. It's a fairly lengthy video because it's a compilation video. I think it may last about half an hour. So if you're going to watch it to the end, that's the sort of time you're looking at. But yeah, watch it part way through if you like. It's entirely up to you. There is quite a bit of repetition in there, and for that I apologise, but it is a compilation video. Okay, so if you're going to grow parsnips this year, this is something you might like to consider doing. This is an old coffee table leg that I use in the video. You may not have one, you may not need one, you may not want to use it, but I used it, and if you want to know what I use that coffee table leg for, you need to watch the video. And I also use a matchstick. So it's a coffee table leg and a matchstick. Again, if you want to know what I use the matchstick for, you need to watch the video. Okay, if you do get to the end of the video, come back to me and we'll round it up. This is something I've never tried before. Pre-germinating parsnip seeds before planting them out. These are the parsnips I'm going to be growing, called Pallas. According to the packet, they take 14 to 32 days before you see any growth, before they germinate. I'm going to be using this plastic tray. It's got a tissue in the bottom, and that tissue is wet. I've got a dish here with a little drop of water in it, and I've got this plate here just so you can see the seeds a bit better. I'll pop that down there. I'll get the seeds out. Now I'm not growing a lot of parsnips, I'm only growing for 3 raised beds, and those beds are going to have other vegetables in them as well, so I don't need a lot. Perhaps if you were growing in an allotment you wouldn't even try this, because it might be a bit fiddly for what you want, particularly if you're growing long rows of parsnips, but I'm not. Right, here's a neat trick. This is a matchstick. Okay, wet it in the water, touch the top of the parsnip seed and it picks it up just like that. Hope you can see this. I'm on the wrong side of the camera, so I don't know if you can. Just pop it in like that. One done. Wet the matchstick, touch the seed, picks the seed up, pop it in like that. Hope you can see those two. Pick the seed up using the wet matchstick, pop it in like that. Couldn't be easier. Just like that. Okay, so as I said, I'm not planting a lot. I don't need a lot. I'm only going to be putting these in a raised bed. I did try with some parsnips a bit earlier, a couple of weeks back, using this same method, and they don't appear to have germinated yet, so I don't know if they're a viable seed, so I'm having to go with these as well. Just sort of give ourselves a backup. And as you get hundreds of these in a packet, if these don't actually germinate, then we'll just go back to the old-fashioned, put them straight in the ground way of sowing seeds. Okay. We'll make that two. No, put one more in. Let's get one more. A nice pattern. There's a nice pattern for you. Now obviously these need to be kept damp. This is out of a windowsill propagator that I have, so I've got a plastic top that'll actually fit onto this. But you could use a saucer, you could use anything really, plastic container. As long as you keep this moist, keep it damp, cling film, put it on a windowsill, and in a couple of weeks time hopefully we'll see these germinated, and we'll relocate them to the raised bed. As you can see, I've already got these holes dibbered, and this is my dibber, if I can just ease it out. And that in a former life was probably a coffee table leg, which I've used to produce holes about 9 inches deep. I'm going to fill these holes with compost, and that's where I'm going to be sowing my parsnips. The compost I'm using is a multi-purpose compost with some 6X added, and I put it through a riddle just to take out any debris that you wouldn't want in there when you're growing a root like a parsnip. These aren't sure parsnips, these are just parsnips for eating. So if I can get some nice parsnips out of here without having to push a hole through to Australia and get them enormous, just parsnips for the table will be wonderful. I'll just show you how I fill these up with the compost. Just ease this out. You'll be able to see my board as well. This is the board that I'm using. 5-inch spacings, 7 inches wide. They're probably far too close, but hey, who cares? Let's do it. So I'll just tease this stuff into these holes, like so. Now below the spacing recommended for these is about 8 inches between parsnip and 16 inches between row, but when you get raised bed gardening you're not going to get many parsnips in at that, so we'll perhaps settle for smaller parsnips but more of them. These parsnips have been in my windowsill propagator now for about 2 weeks. As you can see, I've kept the ventilator closed, hence all this condensation. So they've been kept nice and damp. We'll have a look at them. Let's see if we've got any germination. Oh yes. Yeah. I'll ease this up for you, and we'll work it a couple of ways just so that you may be able to see that. But quite a few of those parsnip seeds have germinated. So I'm going to take them outside now, and I'm going to plant them. These are the positions I've got marked out for my parsnips. I've got them marked out with these pebbles. Each time I take a pebble off, I'll plant one of these germinated parsnip seeds, and let's see how we go. take that one off. These seeds need to go in about 1/2 inch deep, so I'll just open that up as best I can. Try and take one out. Like so. I think you might be able to see that seed, I'm not too sure. Pop that seed in there. Send it down a little bit. That's gone in 1/2 inch. We'll cover it over. One parsnip planted. Drop it in there, like that. Push it down. Just cover it over. So I'll finish these 2 rows off, and then we'll soil is quite wet, but we'll give them a wee bit of a water, and then we'll see how they go. Hello, time to lift my first parsnip of the year. But before I do that, let's just recap on how we got to where we are today. Earlier in the year I started some parsnip seeds off on damp tissue indoors. Got them away and then brought them out here and sowed them individually as a germinated seed. Could hardly be described as a plant, there wasn't much of them, they were a germinated seed. I put a line across this bed and I dibbered a hole and about 4 or 5 inches apart and filled it with a fine homemade compost. And that's where I sowed the parsnip. So hopefully we should get a nice long root that isn't forked, that isn't split, but we won't know that when we dig it out. Okay, now last year when I lifted parsnips, it turned out to be quite an excavation, so I've come prepared today. These guys don't want to come out. Once they get their roots down, they don't want to come out, so it tends to be a bit of a battle. So I'm going to do an excavation, so just bear with me. And this should make life easier, getting this parsnip out. Now, what I will say is, sorry, I've watched videos where people have advocated that you shouldn't lift parsnips till they've had a frost, and the frost makes them sweeter and all that sort of stuff. Personally, I think it's mumbo jumbo, but taste is a personal thing, isn't it? And how sweet do you want something? And if you're a person that likes things very sweet, maybe you should do that. But what I found was I lifted these guys and they were plenty sweet enough and they hadn't seen any frost at all. So anyway, I'm just passing on my experience to you. I don't think they need frost to make them sweet. They're sweet enough without frost. Wow. I'm going to be out at the bottom of this raised bed if I don't watch out. Blimey. Now I can't get round the other side of him because there's parsnips round the other side, so we're struggling a bit now. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, he's moving. Can you see that? Yeah, he's moving. Let's get a bit more of this soil out and then we'll have a go. I hope this camera's on the job because I'm on the parsnip, I'm not on the camera. Right. Blimey. Let's put some gloves on so I can get a bit of grip on this parsnip. We'll see if he wants to come. Can you see him? Let's move some leaves. Can you see him now? That's him. Now apparently when you're lifting parsnips, the way to get them out without breaking them is to push down and twist. Someone that had watched one of my videos and seen me struggle
gave me that advice, and I do find it works. I'm going to try that, push down and twist. Just let me get my gloves on. Molly, can you fetch me my gloves? Go and get my gloves, sweetheart. No, not there, they're up there. Go and get my gloves. Oh, thank you, Molly, well done. Good girl. I think this will come out. Blimey, I hope it does. I've nearly dug down to Australia here. Right, we'll just move that out of the way now. And we'll give it its first go of push down and twist, shall we? See how this goes. I think we're getting it. Yeah. There we go. How's that? Okay, we'll take a few of these smaller fingers off. We can't use those, we don't want those. And the reason I'm only taking one parsnip today is that we're going to incorporate it into some mixed vegetables. And if you're not careful, parsnip can overpower everything. It's quite a flavoursome vegetable, but we want to taste the other veg as well as the parsnip, so one will be enough for today. Okay, so I've just laid the parsnip down on the edge of the raised bed. I can span about 9 inches. That's got to be 9 inches plus whatever that tail is. I don't know. Make it a foot, just over a foot. So we're happy with that. We don't want anything any bigger than that. It's just a fight to get them out, and it looks sound and there's no marks on it. So we're quite happy with that. And if you want to see these guys being sown on a tissue, germinated on a tissue, then brought outdoors, then sown into the bed, there are videos on the channel, just look them up. We'll get this guy indoors now, and we'll call it a day. I think it's time for a cup of tea. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm puffing and panting here, puffing and panting. I'm going to lift a parsnip today. I've lifted 3 earlier, and they've all been used. And one was used, it went in the oven, and it became a roasted parsnip with other vegetables. One became part of a potato and parsnip gratin, and the last parsnip I used, I made soup with it, and I made a curried parsnip soup, and that was lovely. So if you can remember the last time I took a parsnip out, just how difficult it was, these guys don't seem to want to come out. So we'll excavate this parsnip before we attempt to lift it. Okay, we'll take some soil out. Now, this is easily enough done at this time of year because the soil's quite free. Okay. Now I know there are videos on YouTube that'll tell you about sweetness of parsnips, and if you leave them and they get a frost, they'll taste sweeter. Well, speaking from experience, the parsnips I've lifted, and they haven't seen any frost at all, have been sweet enough. In some cases too sweet. In fact, the roast parsnip in the oven was too sweet for my taste. And bear in mind, sweetness is a taste thing, isn't it? It's a personal thing. Some people need 1 spoon of sugar, some people need 2, some people need 3. Some people can't stand sweetness. So, you may not want them too sweet. But the downside of this frost business is that, imagine you've had 2 or 3 days frost, and you want a parsnip. You're not going to be able to dig like this, are you? The ground's going to be frozen, and you're going to struggle to get your parsnip out. So why leave it? Why leave it to perhaps become too sweet when you can take it now when it's probably just right? Okay, I'll just get rid of this soil, and you'll see the excavation. And there's the parsnip coming into view. I don't know if you can see that yet. Now these guys really have took a bit of getting out, so I'm expecting this one to be no different. And if you decide that you're going to grow parsnips, you'll best make your mind up what you're going to do with them when you dig them out. Now this one, or maybe two if it's not a big one, is going to be curry parsnip soup, and that is so easy. It's so easy. It's a parsnip, and basically it's a knob of butter in a pan, a couple of garlic cloves chopped up, your parsnip and an onion chopped up, throw in there, saute them off, salt and pepper to taste, and when they're sauteed off, or during the sauteing process, just add some curry powder, stir it in, and when you finish sauteing you're going to blitz it, put it in the blender and blitz it, and it's lovely, it really is lovely. But if you want a proper recipe, I mean there's plenty of recipes on YouTube, just have a look, you'll find a recipe for curry parsnip soup, I'm sure you will. Well, you will, because I've found them, that's where I got my recipe. Now this guy looks as though he's maybe put a couple of roots down, so I might even have a bigger fight with this one. Let's see what we've got here. Now remember the tip we got off another YouTuber, one of my subscribers, push down and twist to get these boys out, but to be honest, this is how you've got to do it. You've got to excavate, and if you leave it till the ground's frozen, I'm telling you, this will be a battle. You'll need arms like Popeye. Not only that, you'll probably need a couple of sticks of dynamite to get these things to come out. Okay, let's do a push down and twist, shall we? We push it down and we twist it, and we pull in. See what we've got here. Ho, 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 ho. What's that? 3 for the price of 1. Well, I've never seen a parsnip like that before. Anyway, it's usable. We'll tidy it up, then we'll take another look. But I think that'll be enough for that the soup that I'm proposing to make. So I'll fill this all in again. I won't take another one. This one's enough. And hope you've enjoyed the video. I've cleaned the soil away from the top of these 2 parsnips just so you can get a look at them. But I'm actually going to lift them as well. I've lifted one, I've already lifted a parsnip, and they're quite big really, and they take a bit of lifting. So I'm not too sure how well this will go. But I've been given some advice that if you press down and twist at the same time, it slackens the root. Okay, and these boys should come out a bit easier. So let's see how that goes. Let's see if we can do that, shall we? I'll just move this soil out the way. And hopefully the second one will come out easier than the first one because we've loosened the soil. So how's that? I think I can get a grip of that. So let's press down and twist, see what we get. Yeah, it feels as though it wants to come. That sounds like good advice. Yeah, it's not far away, but we'll need to give it a hand with this fork. Yep. Needs a bit more persuading. Needs some more persuading, Molly. So we'll take some more soil out, shall we? Yep. And then we'll give it another push down and twist. Let's take some out of this side. Yeah, I think it's moving now. Push down and twist. No, push down and twist. Push down and twist. Push down and twist. Whoa, baby! Well, wasn't that excellent advice? Push down and twist. Huh? Should always listen to other gardeners when they give you advice. Push down and twist. That's 9 inches. That spread. That parsnip's got to be a foot long. And a single root, no legs to talk of. Excellent. Let's get the other one up, Moll. I'm getting too excited. Now if you remember, these parsnips were started indoors and they're either brought outside as germinated seeds or brought outside as seedlings. I can't just recall this particular row. Oh. Oh. Push down and twist, come on. Crikey, I'm going to be down to Australia. Right, push down, twist, twist. Oh. That's it. We're coming now, boy. I think we're coming. Come on, son. Oh, another. Hey, how good is that? 9 inches. 2 parsnips. Superb. I've done a bit of an excavation. I'm going to push down and twist now, see if this baby will come out. Okay. And if it doesn't come out, I'll have to dig some more. Okay, there we go. Pushing down and twisting. Oh, something's gone. Yeah, we're gonna get it. I can feel it going. Yep. There we go. Are you watching? I have left some root in the bottom, but it's probably a very thin piece of root that wouldn't get used anyway. There we go. 9 inch, and it's all usable. I've excavated. I'm going to try and take this out by hand. If I can't manage that, then I'll use the fork. There are a couple of videos on the channel to show you how to germinate seeds indoors. It usually takes half the time that it would do if you germinated the seed outdoors. Then bring them out, transplant them into the bed. So let's see if we can give this one a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle and see if it'll come out. Nope. So we'll pop this fork in and see if we can persuade it to come out, hopefully without disturbing its neighbours. That's combination of both now. Nope. So we'll excavate some more soil. Let's see if that does the trick. If I was taking the whole row out and there was plenty of room, I wouldn't need to be this careful, but as I've said, I'm only taking this one just to see what it's like, and I don't want to disturb its neighbours and the leeks behind it, so I'm taking a bit more care than you probably need to do if you were taking the whole row out. I think we're getting there now. Right, let's give it another go. Here we go, it's coming, I can feel it coming. Okay, let's see if we can tease the tops out of these. I put these supports in just to stop things blowing over really, and as you can see it's worked, but we're getting there. Here we go. Ho ho, well, we're happy with that. And if you remember, I dibbered holes in the raised bed and filled it with compost, and I think I dibbered them down to about 9 inches deep. So as you can see, most of this root has got to the bottom of that 9 inches. It's about 9 inches. Most of this root has got to the bottom of the 9 inches before it started to sprout legs, so to speak, become a triffid. That looks about 9 inches long. Okay, we're still fighting with the vegetation. There you go. It's about 9 inches, and I would think that's about 3 inches.
Wow, still with me. So you got to the end of the video, what did you think? They were nice parsnips. They really were, but I've got to tell you, well, I haven't got to tell you because I told you often enough in the compilation video. These parsnips take some getting out. They really do. Another way you might want to consider growing these parsnips, and I've done it, although it's not part of this video, I've actually grown these parsnips in buckets. Now these are much easier to get out of buckets. Particularly if you take all the parsnips in the bucket at once, because you can empty the bucket out. Just empty it out and all the parsnips will fall away. But hey, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do grow parsnips, best of luck. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out.